Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're going to look at how to dress for a job interview. I'm reminded of a time a long while ago when I was conducting interviews on a panel. There was an HR manager, me, my boss and an independent manager from another section conducting interviews for a recruitment drive we had, and we needed to employ somebody for a particular role. And this young lad was the first one to come in literally on the interview. He came in wearing jeans, t-shirts and muddy trainers, and before we'd even started the interview, the HR manager stepped forward and said, just need to have a quick word with you, young man. And he explained to him, did you understand what the job was about? And the lad said yes, that he was going to be wearing a uniform, and then obviously with that the HR manager then interjected and he said, well, you know, we expected people to turn up to be able to demonstrate that they can be an ambassador for our firm whilst wearing that uniform. And obviously we get a lot of information from the way that people dress when they turn up for the interview. Their attention to detail, can they think on their feet, can they present themselves well, would they look after the uniform that we would provide them, and things like that, besides all the questions that are related to the job itself. So at that point the young man looked like he was going to fail straight away, but the HR manager did speak to him in a bit more depth and said, you know, do you live far away? And the young lad didn't. He only lived about 15 minutes away. And he said, do you know anybody that has a suit or a jacket and tie, that sort of thing? And he said his brother did. So the HR manager said, well, we'll give you an hour and a half, we'll reschedule you in. And the lad went away to get changed. In between that, obviously the interviews carried on. On the lad's return though, he was wearing a suit and a tie, and he looked a lot better than he did. On this occasion he didn't get the job only because really he didn't have the academic requirements or the skills that we were looking for. But the moral of the story is that you don't get a second chance really on most of these things. This young lad was in the right place at the right time to have a second bite of the cherry. You may not get that chance. You've got to get it right first time, and this is how we're going to do it. So you've done all the hard work. You've gone through the selection process, you've completed online tests, you've done evaluations, and now you've got your final job interview, and it's against 12 other competitors. What gives you the edge over them? There are very few jobs where you can just turn up and you get it on merit alone. However, I'm not saying that dressing the best is necessarily going to get you the job. It really does come down to a lot of combinations, a lot of things that happen along the way. How you conduct yourself on the interview, how you present yourself on the interview is just as important. And it says a lot about you as a person, subliminally to the people that are conducting the interview. First impressions do count. As soon as you walk into that interview room, the first 5 to 10 seconds, people are weighing you up. Straight away, they're looking at how you present yourself, how you dress, do you shine your shoes, and things like that. So it really is important that you prepare yourself for that interview, not only by reading up on the sorts of questions they may ask you or present you with, or situations they ask you about, but also about how you're going to dress, where you're going to. So it's wise to go to the location where the interview is going to be held beforehand. Try and understand about, for example, the dress code there. Do people wear suits all the time? Do they wear casual? Do they wear something in between? You know, for example, smart casual look. So with that information, then you get to understand maybe a little bit more about where you would fit in your dress code for that interview. The most important thing you can do is dress for the environment. So for example, if you're going to a job where they all wear suits all the time, you don't turn up in jeans and trainers. If you're going to be wearing a casual look, that's fine if the environment is where people generally dress like that. However, I would still not suggest you wear jeans or trainers. Maybe lift it a little bit more in your standard there. So on this occasion, I've covered 4 main areas. One is the formal business look, the informal business look, the smart casual look, and casual. And we'll look at those in more depth. So what I'm wearing today is pretty much what you'd call a formal business look. Got a charcoal grey 3-buttoned suit, muted colour in the tie and a white shirt, and a pocket square which is a very simple white handkerchief, what they call an ambassador fold. Oxford black shoes, very much like these shoes here. You can see there's just a toe cap on them. Very plain looking shoe. The funny thing is that the more plain and bland things are, the more formal they are considered. So that's just something to bear in mind. And also the colours of your shoes. Black is more formal, going down to different coloured shoes, for example burgundy, browns, tans. As you go down that scale, they are more and more informal, along with the detail on the shoes as well. So if you get more broguing, which are the little holes in it, for example like this look, yeah, that is considered more informal than this one. This is just a straightforward Oxford shoe. This is more brogued, and obviously therefore this is more informal. Also, for example, this is in brown, this is a derby. However, if you were to have this in a black, and it's actually, you can see it's very plain and bland looking, that would be another formal shoe to wear with a formal business look. You'll note the tie, albeit I'm a bit risky here. I've got a little bit of detail on a burgundy tie. Okay, so as long as it's not bright and garish, you will probably get away with a tie like this. Now consider the suit itself. It's a plain charcoal grey flat coloured suit. It's designed for business wear, and there is no pattern in it at all. If we were to pick up a suit with more pattern in it, then that would be tending to go more informal. And for example, if you didn't like grey, or you weren't keen on wearing a grey suit, then I would go for a navy suit, flat, similar design, no pattern on it. If you wanted a little bit of detail in it, then possibly go for a pinstripe. A navy pinstripe goes really well, or a grey, dark grey with a pinstripe, with add a push. So with that in mind, it's all about the embellishments. So for example, if you're going to wear jewellery, then keep it simple. Very simple ring, possibly a simple gold watch, plain detail, not too heavy on the metalwork. And if you're wearing cufflinks, try and keep them a little bit subtle, and you'll look great with that. Very simple to do, very easy to pull together, and you'll look really good on the interview. There is something to consider about the colour of the tie. There is research that says, depending on the colour of the tie, what subliminal message you give to people. So for example, if you're wearing a red tie, then you could be, depending on how bright the red is, how passionate you are about something. If you've got a darker coloured red, then that's more of a trustworthy colour. People trust people to get the job done, and they're passionate about it at the same time. If you go to a different colour, for example, a blue tie is more calming, more controlled in your approach to things, and more calculated as an individual. Something else to consider as well is, for example, green ties. Green ties, they're a little bit of in between. It's more calculated as an individual. You're more calm, responsive to others' needs. The one thing that I would say is never wear a white tie, especially if it's with a Chinese or Japanese company, because that tends to be the funeral colour of ties. And likewise in this country and in the States, a black tie is not necessarily the best choice to make for a job interview. Black ties are normally worn in the evenings or dinner events, or for example if you're going to a funeral. Yellow is another colour that tends to be used more in the countryside, so it's not necessarily a colour that you would wear for a formal job interview, wearing a formal dress. And that brings us on to the next subject, which is informal business look. So for the informal business look, the idea is to add a little bit of colour, a bit of texture, and a bit of pattern. And on this occasion I'm wearing a 4-buttoned single-breasted suit. It's got a slight pattern in the sleeve, as you can see in the suit itself, but this is actually more of a texture to the suit. Grey paisley tie and a pink shirt. I know what you're thinking, but real men wear pink. And a little bit of colour in the pocket square as well. And with this look you can go more informal, so you can wear, for example, a black brogue. I tend to like black brogues, or in this case I would wear an oxblood or burgundy brogue. That's a really nice look with this colour suit. Of course the range goes further than that, because you don't have to wear a tie. You could wear a suit without a tie, but it's still quite smart and really a sharp look. You could change the colour of the shirt, make it a little bit more vibrant, or change the pattern on the suit. For example, have a checked suit, a grey checked suit is another good look. Obviously the idea is to step away a little bit from the previous more formal business look. So this is a little bit more lively. This is probably somebody that you still have to wear a suit, but it's a little bit more relaxed atmosphere. It might be, for example, you going for a job as a salesperson, and therefore it's not quite the business look that they're looking for, but they still want you to have a little bit of personality into the way you look. And this is a good way of achieving it, with a little bit of colour. The tie knot is a different knot. This is more informal knot, and this is what's called a Prince Albert. And if you want to know how to tie that knot, we've got a link down below which will show you 5 different ways to tie a tie knot. The other thing to bear in mind with this informal look is you don't really have to wear a suit at all. You could wear a blazer, grey trousers and a tie, and you still get that more formalised look, but you could wear more informal shoes. Although we said the derby is a formal look, when you're wearing a brown derby it's a little bit toned down, and you could use that at the next level down in the informal look. When it comes to jewellery and accessories, you can go a little bit more upmarket, or a little bit more blingy if you like. For example, the watch can be a little bit more chunky, maybe a different colour, same with the cufflinks. For example, the ring might be a slightly larger or different coloured, but the point being, still don't wear beads, bracelets, still tame it down a little bit for this more business-like look. So now we come on to the category of smart casual. Now that's the most wide-ranging of the categories, because it goes between that informal business suit look all the way through to casual, for example jeans and t-shirts, that sort of area. So it's the most wide-ranging. Also, there are some rules I tend to stick with. I wouldn't wear jeans, denim coloured jeans. I'd either go darker if I'm going to wear jeans, or lighter. So in this case I'm wearing a tweed jacket, plain white shirt, waistcoat, pocket square to match the waistcoat, but you don't have to wear the pocket square at all. I'm wearing a pair of stone coloured jeans and a pair of brown brogues. When it comes to accessories, I keep it very simple. So for example, because I'm wearing brown shoes, I'm wearing a brown strapped watch, plain face, and because there's silver in that, I pick the silver out in the ring, and also the stone is the same colour as the waistcoat. Bit blingy, but you can get away with it with this look. Now at this time you could wear maybe a bracelet, beads for example, and keep it very simple. And the other thing to bear in mind with this look is that obviously you could trade the jacket for a different coloured jacket. For example, it could be a black blazer or navy blue blazer with no tie. For example, a polo neck jumper. You could wear a houndstooth black and white jacket with a pair of black trousers as an example. That's another way of doing it, but the idea is you can have a bit of fun with this area and still make it look good. So different coloured shirt, textured shirts, striped shirts, great. If you're going to put a tie on, that starts to make it a little bit more formal, and obviously if you wear a cravat, that's taking it up to the formal look again, only because people don't wear them nowadays. Ironically, in reality, it is more informal by wearing a cravat in this day and age with this type of look. The other thing to bear in mind is your shoes. You can get away with wearing slip-on shoes or moccasins even. You can wear a pair of brown shoes, Derbies, Oxfords. You can get away with brogues as well. Okay. The other thing to bear in mind is that it is an area where you can have a little bit of fun, but don't overcook it, because it either goes too informal, where you're then becoming casual, or the other extreme where it becomes more formal, more formalised. So it's a grey area how to look, but it can be achieved really easily. And to be fair, all you need to do is go online and put in the words smart casual, men's smart casual, and it will give you a whole host of different sites, looks and ideas. And that brings us on to the final subject, which is casual look. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing a roll neck jumper. Now, perfectly acceptable when we're talking about casual looks, especially in the winter when it's starting to get a bit colder. Then there's nothing wrong with a roll neck jumper. The other thing to bear in mind is that you can wear jeans, you can get away with wearing trainers, things like that, but I would try and keep them where there's no motifs. So if you're going to wear a t-shirt, it doesn't have any motif on it, or or garish colours. Keep it very plain and simple from an interview point of view. I would tend not to wear jeans as in denim coloured jeans, but wear something darker or lighter. Generally chinos will get you through and give you a range of colours to wear, or wear just a pair of trousers, check trousers go great with a pair of shoes and a roll neck jumper, or something along these colours. But obviously you could wear check shirts, make it a little bit more informal. The one thing I would say is if you're going to wear a dress belt, if you're going to wear a belt with these, then try and keep them coordinated with the colour of the shoes. So for example, if they're brown, wear a brown belt rather than a black one. But if it's underneath a jumper, and jumpers are perfectly acceptable because we all get cold, so different coloured jumper, plain shirt, great look. When it comes to jewellery, I'd still keep it low key on beads and bracelets, not too many. Keep hand jewellery down to minimal, a simple ring, a watch. The watch, you can get a little bit more adventurous with the design of the watch. But the main point of this is from an interview point of view. If I was attending an interview where, for example, I was going for a construction job or labouring job or factory work, then you would be able to attend an interview wearing casual clothes, because a lot of times people don't own suits very often. They don't wear them all the time for that sort of work, so it's not a common thing for them to wear in the first place. But what I would do is I'd get away from the jeans, t-shirt and trainers look. Maybe wear a pair of loafers as shoes, darker coloured jeans or a pair of chinos. Whilst a jacket is not necessary for that casual look, but if it was a little bit cold, then I'd wear maybe a bleached jacket, for example a denim jacket, but not denim as in colour, more like a jean jacket which is, for example, stone in colour, or tobacco as another colour, or possibly a green jacket like a Harrington jacket, something along those lines. Along with check shirts are great, short sleeved or long sleeved. I tend to stick with long sleeve formal shirts. Informally, for example, casual look, I'll sometimes wear a short sleeved check shirt. I find they're great in the summer months, and I think with that look, whilst others might be turning up in jeans and t-shirts and maybe dirty trainers, you'd turn up a little bit more above the mark, but not too formalised for the role that you're going for. But it's only my opinion, and if you feel that you want to attend an interview looking your best and your sharpest, and you wear your suit to go for a job that's doesn't require that sort of look, and it's what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel inspired, driven, seizing the moment really. That's what it's all about. You feeling good about yourself, looking good, feeling great, and killing that interview when you get in there. There is one area we haven't really covered, which is tweed and tweed suits and country wear. For example, if you were going for a job interview on a farm, it would be perfectly acceptable to wear shooting attire, for example, a tweed jacket, brown trousers and brogue shoes, or if a tweed suit. Is not uncommon for estate managers to wear that on a regular basis, walking around checking the estates. So it's perfectly acceptable for a job interview as well. So it's something to bear in mind. Okay. So with that in mind, to summarise all these things, the final words are about the interview itself. So just before attending the interview, you have to consider this. If you're going to wear a suit and you haven't worn one for a while or haven't worn one at all, it's wise to practice it a little bit. Wear it for a few times going into town or something like that, just to get familiar with it and how it feels on you and make yourself feel comfortable wearing it. Once you're comfortable, it makes it so much easier. If you attend an interview and you're wearing a suit and you don't normally wear one, you feel, oh, it's a bit tight and I feel a bit awkward, and I feel it all adds to the anxiety of attending a job interview. And it is an artificial situation, so you really do need to make yourself feel as comfortable as possible and on point. So for example, recce the route. Go on a reconnaissance of where to go, where you're going to attend the job interview. Time it so you know that you're going to get there with plenty of time to spare, so you're not pressurising yourself before you even get into the interview room. Consider the sort of questions that you might ask somebody else about that job, the really awkward questions. Find the answers for those and write them down. Don't be afraid to take a notebook and pen in with you, and use that to record information on there. For example, if somebody asks you a question about a certain subject, don't just answer it straight away. Think about the question, the context of the question, and then answer it in a slow, methodical way. The reason why I say that is because when it comes to interviews, whilst you think you're talking at a normal rate, you're really going fast. Your heart rate's going, and so suddenly you give this injection of energy into your description or your answer, and it comes out really quickly and fast, and you don't know really, and you trip over what you're saying and you don't really understand it. And so slow it down, pace yourself, think about the question so you get the right answer in your head, and then methodically work through your answer when you're giving it to the interview panel. The interview panel is there to actually get the best from you, so it's not in their interest to put you under any undue pressure. And if they do you really want that job for them if they act like that? So all these things you need to take into consideration. Finally, this series or this video is supported by a blog, and I'll put the link down below, so if you want to look at the blog as well, you're welcome to do so. As previous videos, we really want to hear from you, so if you've got your own opinions or views, anything that's constructive, put it in the comments below. We really like to hear from you, and we'll respond to you as quickly as possible. The other thing to bear in mind is, if you liked our video and our series of videos, then subscribe, and also give us a thumbs up. So until next time, take care.